Hi guys, I'm back with another Wear and Compare, and it's going to be another Maybelline one. This has been so highly requested because I didn't actually do, nothing I've done so far has been kind of a full range of anything. It's been kind of 3 or 4 of one brand, and I intended to do more if you guys were interested in a specific one. Maybelline was one that lots of people asked about, so I contacted Maybelline because previous to this I have purchased everything that I've shown you. And it gets a bit expensive when you're buying like tens of foundations. It gets a bit expensive, so I contacted Maybelline and I asked whether or not they would send me some of the ones that I didn't already cover, and they've sent me 3. So I may go out and buy a couple more before the end of this video, but the first one I'm going to show you is the Fit Me Matte and Poreless, and I think this is a new one. I don't think this is a repackaged original Fit Me. I think that this is a new mattifying Fit Me, so that's quite interesting. And I'm using this one first because it's much darker than I normally would wear, but I'm a little bit tan right now. This is in the shade Buff Beige. I don't know whether or not that's kind of buff beige or if it's buff or beige, but it's 130. So I'm going to apply this, and I'm going to apply it with a beauty blender for the sake of argument, because so many people want me to use something other than my fingers to apply a foundation. So for this video, I will be using a raggedy old beauty blender. Wow. First of all, amazing. So light. I actually went in with a second layer because I've got something in my eyelash right now. Because I tried to apply this just using the viewfinder, and it was really tough. Not easy to do that at all. So I went in with the second layer and properly looked in the mirror when I was doing it. And I used the beauty blender as you saw. I don't know whether or not that had an impact on how it applied, but it applied absolutely beautifully, and it feels amazing. It feels very light on my skin. And it was just very thin, completely different to what I would expect for anything that would say that it was mattifying and poreless. So on the back of this it says, mattifies and refines pores with blurring micro powders for poreless looking skin, matches skin tone and texture, natural seamless finish. And I would agree with all of that. First impressions wise, I feel like it looks really natural. Colour wise, I mean, I know I'm tan at the moment, and so you know, my regular foundations wouldn't necessarily match me anyway. Lots of people do say that I wear the foundation that's a little bit too light for me. The reason that I do that is I've got quite a bit of pigmentation on my skin, on my face. It's not particularly even compared to the rest of me. I would much rather be kind of an actual match to my neck than a match to my face. So that's normally what I'm heading towards. But I really like this colour on me, and I think it is perfect for the skin tone that I'm right now. So we'll see how it lasts. And I'm keeping my fingers crossed because I really like this one. Well, colour me impressed. It has been way more than 7 hours, and I think this looks really good. Bear in mind, it's not a full coverage foundation to begin with, so all of this area here where you can see kind of my pigmentation and the freckles and stuff, that's no big deal because you can see that to begin with. It has broken down slightly around my nose, there's a little bit of redness, but that's my kind of face touching situation rather than the actual foundation breaking down. I've probably just kind of wiped it away as the days progressed, but seriously, I'm so impressed. It's a little bit shiny, a little bit glowy. I have blotted, I haven't added anything, but I've kind of blotted with tissue as and when I needed to because I was filming other videos today, but it has been like I've got changed about 1,000,000 times because I filmed a video where I tried on clothes. I've been cooking, it's been raining today, it's been through the ringer, and it's lasted amazingly. I would 100% recommend this, and like I said at the beginning of the video, it's not something I would have purchased, not something I would have even looked at twice. And I don't know what it is about that packaging, it just didn't appeal to me, and I really wasn't expecting to love it, but I really do. So full disclosure, the one that I showed you in the last clip, I was wearing for 3 days and I didn't want to try anything else. I was so obsessed with it. I absolutely love that foundation. So spoiler alert, that might be the favourite, but I haven't tried the other 2 yet. And then yesterday I tried the Dream Matte Mousse, this one, which I'll be showing you in this clip. And then I washed my face at the end of the day and completely forgot to come back and show you it. So we're going to try that one again. And I am going to work today, and as we know, I like to test these things out on a work day because I just think that the whole office environment and the air conditioning and all that is a really good test for a foundation. So we're going to use this. I have used it already, as you can see. It's just kind of a whipped foundation. I haven't used this in forever, in maybe 10 years. I want to say so we'll see, but I do already know what the texture is going to be like because I used it yesterday. Sorry if the lighting's not so great today. I'm trying a different setup, and I kind of realised that the light is a lot behind me. I also have a light in front of me, but I think at this time of day it's very bright behind me, so might not be ideal, but hopefully you can get the kind of gist of what I'm showing you. And I actually really like the finish of this one. I like it more today than I did yesterday, possibly because I figured out how to apply it with the Beauty Blender. Because initially I was like, this is weird, because it just sits on the Beauty Blender because it's very silicone-y and kind of dry when you put it on. It's not wet like a foundation. Obviously it's more like a mousse. And so applying it with the Beauty Blender is completely different than applying any other foundation with the same sponge. So I've kind of got to grips with that a little bit more, and I think the second application was a little bit better. So maybe that was a good thing that I didn't show you yesterday. But I actually really do like the finish. It does kind of look really, I don't want to say poreless. I suppose it is a little bit. It's not really settled into the pores as other foundations might do, but it's just kind of like a mask. I can feel it. It's definitely heavier than the first one that I showed you. I feel like throughout the day yesterday it did settle into some areas of dryness, so we'll see how that goes today. But I don't think this is necessarily the foundation for me the same way that it was 10 years ago. I think 10 years ago I absolutely loved this foundation. It was the best thing ever. And first impressions are that maybe it's not the one for me now. That's not to say it's a bad foundation, but my skincare, or my skin type and my skin needs have changed, as have the needs for my foundation. So we'll see how it lasts whilst I'm at work. But first impressions, I really like the finish. I really like the way it applies. It does feel a little bit heavy. The shade that I'm using is vanilla, which I quite like as well. But yeah, I'll be back later on. So it's the end of the day, and first thing, pretty shiny for a mattifying foundation. I have blotted throughout the day. I don't add powder when I'm doing these day tests, but I do kind of have to blot a little bit, especially when I'm at work. I don't want to just look like a complete oil slick. But it hasn't kept me particularly matte for something that is supposed to be a mattifying foundation. Secondly, because of that silicone-y texture, it does tend to slip around on the face and kind of gather in little areas. I did notice earlier on today there was just a little section here, and I don't know if it's from like movement of my forehead. There was just like a little line of foundation that I had to kind of move away a little bit. It's gathered slightly around my nose here, although it's got no coverage there at all anymore, just kind of gathered. And it's just kind of worn away. I don't feel like there's very much of the foundation left. It's just like kind of unsightly shiny areas, which is not really particularly nice. Once upon a time this was my favourite foundation. My skin has changed, so it's nothing to say that this won't be your favourite foundation or you won't still absolutely love this and it won't work for you. It doesn't work for me now. And yeah, it just goes to show that people's skin does change completely in what I feel is kind of a short space of time in the grand scheme of life. But my skin does not like this anymore. It doesn't work for me anymore. Today's foundation is the Superstay 24 Hour Fresh Look Long Wear Foundation in True Ivory. I think this is new packaging. I don't know about you guys. I seem to remember the packaging looking different to this, and I looked on the website and there are 2 different versions. Now I don't know if there are actually 2 different versions. They didn't seem to be different, but let me know if you know. It says new formula though, so we shall see. And on the back it says no colour shifting, dulling or fading, breathable, comfortable, no transfer, won't rub off. So I seriously just pulled off the entire thing and it is all over me. This is not my day. So I'm going to apply it. So first impressions, it is a little bit powdery. Reminds me kind of the matte mousse. It's strange actually. The actual finish is a little bit light. I'm just looking in the mirror down here. It is a little bit like the matte mousse. I get that it's going to be slightly more powdery because it's supposed to be long wearing and it's going to have to be that kind of finish and slightly drier. But I don't know, I like it. It feels a lot lighter and fresher than the Dream Matte Mousse. So I would give it that, and I liked the way that it applied. I'm trying to see past the fact that it is too pale for me because obviously 1, I'm not normally tanned, and 2, I didn't choose out these shades for myself. But the actual formula itself I really liked to apply. So let's see how long this one lasts. It's been a full day. I've been out shopping. We've been hours and hours and hours out of the house. It's lasted okay. I felt really shiny today. I had to blot a lot. And I don't know, it's much better than the matte from yesterday. I still feel like the coverage and everything is pretty much still there, wearing away in the regular places, but I don't think that it's quite worn away as badly as the one from yesterday. But it's still not quite holding up to the first one that I showed you. I don't know, I probably wouldn't reach for this one again because there are other ones that I liked more that tend to last a little bit longer on me. but I did like the way that it applied. I don't mind the way that it looks now, it's just not particularly impressive. So I contemplated adding to this Wear and Compare with the fourth, but I decided to just leave it as these three because I looked at the range and I just thought there's nothing really else that I desperately want to try from Maybelline. Again, if you want me to review something else, please leave it a comment below. And I probably at some point will do kind of an amalgamation of all the leftovers that didn't manage to get into the one brand ones. I'm also planning on putting together, once I've done as many as I really want to do, maybe towards the end of the year, I'm going to put together a Wear and Compare of all of my favourites of each. So kind of my absolute top picks and see how they all compare against each other in a bid to find my ultimate favourite foundation. But definitely from this particular Wear and Compare, this was the one. It's again been a complete wild card for me, something that I wasn't necessarily going to have picked up had it not been sent to me, and the shade has been a bit of a revelation. I'm wearing it today and I just love it so much. The texture of it, everything about it, I'm so happy to have tried it. Dream Matte Mousse, it's a miss for me now, but once upon a time it was definitely a hit. And the Superstay 24 wasn't that bad. The actual longevity of it, the way that it stayed on my skin, was pretty good. I thought the coverage stayed pretty well. I think that the only thing is that I was comparing it to the first one and it just wasn't as good in my mind. It just didn't stay quite as nicely. The finish wasn't quite as nice at the end of the day. It did stay on pretty well, but the finish didn't stay. It was the actual coverage was there, but I wanted it to still look nice, and it didn't really still look nice at the end of the day, in comparison to the Fit Me Matte and Poreless, which I think was just like head and shoulders better. And you wouldn't think that you could compare the two. So again, as with anything, if you've tried these products, please leave us a comment below and let me know how it worked for you. Which one's your favourite? What is your favourite Maybelline product or base product? And don't forget to check out my previous one, which was kind of categorised as all of the dream products that I had from Maybelline. Not all of them, but all of the ones that I had at the time. I know this is one of them. This would have been a better put in with that foundation video, but hey, that was what I had at the time. So if you want to see some more Maybelline foundations, you can check them out there. And I also have some other Wear and Compares of different foundations and lipsticks from various different brands if you want to check those out as well. And while you're here, don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye! And if we could just ignore this sheet up behind me, that'd be great.